Welcome to another episode of Laptops and Drinks.
Woo!
Nice to see you all again today. You will find us on all social medias, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and on Amazon and Spotify podcasts.
Lovely. Check us out.
It is Black History Month,
Yes.
October. So we're going to get started with what are we drinking? Who's drinking what today?
I'll start. I don't mind. I'm on that. I was going to say I'm on that bourbon, but that's a lie. That's a lie.
It probably feels like bourbon.
I'm on that cognac with a bit of apple juice. Ching ching. Black History Month. Power to the people.
She's like ting ting.
Has it got to your head already?
I know, right?
It was at the top 5 minutes ago.
Lies.
Anne-Marie?
I'm drinking a sort of rosé wine today. Have something a bit fruity.
Nice. Sharon?
I'm drinking port. No, I'm joking.
Oh, yeah. Wrong colour.
Different colour.
Speaking of port, though, I have just been introduced to port and
Port's
been
nice.
having
With cheese.
a little sipple, tipple
Oh,
every
yeah.
night.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a nice sip though, isn't it? It's
Oh
something
my
you sip.
gosh! I'm
and
like,
it's
where
nice and
have I
smooth.
been?
Port's
Wow.
Where
I
have
am
I
so
been? Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
Portugal does port.
Ah,
When you
I
next go.
yeah. I just each
amazing.
night, like put the son to bed. And we're like, oh,
A little tipple.
yeah, and it's not burning the
No,
chest.
no.
It's just
Smooth.
it
Yeah,
is.
smooth.
So Christmas present.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Okay.
it is a Christmas drink.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Port,
this
yeah?
is not port now. This is lemon and ginger. Yeah, I know, right? Lemon and ginger kombucha.
Nice.
So I've got a different flavour.
Do you like this one?
I love this flavour.
Oh, you don't like the
I'm
berry
a big
one?
anything with ginger can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That you?
I'm drinking Malibu and lemonade today.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh, you're really not letting go of that sun, are you?
No. And it's Black History Month, so it fits with the
It
islands.
does.
Nice.
Okay, Sharon, you got a game for us?
Yeah. So it's just a little kind of nice way to kind of introduce us to our segment this month. True and false. Just shout out whether you think it's true or false. The winner gets £100. No, I'm joking. Okay. Okay. True or false? The ship Empire Windrush docked in London in 1948.
True.
False. It actually docked at Tilbury Docks in Essex.
Tilbury, that's it.
I was listening to the year.
Oh, do you know that? I was like, yeah, that's right.
See, I would have just kept that money in my pocket as well, right? I really had money. Okay, let's keep it a little bit lighter. Lewis Hamilton once turned up to an awards show in a kilt, causing a fashion frenzy. True or false?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's into fashion, isn't he?
Yeah.
he is.
I remember that. Okay, this is a funny one. The Notting Hill Carnival is so big that it uses more than 30,000 bottles of hot pepper sauce each year. She's sitting there
That's
quiet.
quite
You know
a
what?
lot.
That's
She's
a
sitting there
lot.
so quiet that I hear this. Let's move this. Yeah?
Because that's so stereotypically hot sauce.
I know.
So it's false then.
I think false. Yeah.
That's too much.
Okay. Here's another one. Right. Mo Gilligan's nickname before he became famous was Mo the Comedian.
Yes.
Yes, true.
True.
Yeah. Gosh, there's been a lot of talk about
Isn't
him.
it?
Yeah. You know, it's funny how there can be nothing and then there's something. Yeah. Anyway, we won't go there. That's me done.
Okay.
So we kind of just got it a bit more structured today, haven't you? You've got just have a bit more conversation. Well, spend a bit of time having conversations on 2 questions that you've helpfully put together for us.
Do you want me to start with my one?
Please.
Okay. So because it's about Black History Month, so the question is, can you think of a moment in history or your own life where someone stood firm in power and pride? And I suppose we should say that, what's the theme for this year? Is it stand in power,
Stand firm in
power and
pride,
pride?
yeah.
So can you think of a moment in history or your own personal life where someone stood firm in power and pride? I suppose it kind of touched upon, Sharon, when you were just, the quiz. And when you kind of think about our grandparents coming over, you know, to this foreign land called the UK, and it would have been cold back then. And when you kind of think about the pride, you know, because when you see how all of them were dressed, you know, they were dressed in their Sunday best, weren't they? You know, the men were wearing their hats, their suits, you know, and the women were wearing their church dresses. And they kind of paved the way, didn't they, for all of
100%.
us,
Yeah.
you know, when we kind of strip it back. So I think definitely, for our generation, it would be our grandparents in terms of, where we are today, really, and the legacy.
Definitely.
And you know, just as when you're talking about that, one of the things that I also miss seeing is like, just, you know, sometimes when you're walking down the street and you'll see, you know, some of the men that they used to just dress very smartly, right? A little cardigan, a tie, and their hat, and they're just going to get a newspaper. You don't see that so much anymore, do you? And that's something that, you know, you miss seeing really, because even if it always used to, like, if I didn't know someone, it would just be like a nod of respect, be like, hi, just a good morning or hello. It's very different. It doesn't, we don't have that as much as we used to.
Yeah, definitely in regards to pride. I think when I think back, even like to my grandparents and that sense of how you carry yourself, you carry yourself with pride. I think that was always instilled into me in regards to carry us. You know, like how even when you think about different kind of clothes that we have, you have your yard clothes, which you just wear in the house. You'll have your good clothes, your church clothes. You have your good clothes for going out different places. There's always different sets of clothes for different things. And it's funny because that goes down generation to generation because even with my little one, I'm like, nope, that's not for that. Go and put, when he comes to school, go and put on your yard clothes. Do you know what I mean?
Or house clothes.
Your house clothes. Your house, you know, your house clothes that you can, you know, and even when you think about that, because it's about, and even knowing who you are and being proud of who you are, I think in a sense that was always instilled into me. I think as a child, I think that's why some people say I was a confident person. I guess I am in that sort of sense because I know who I am and someone can't tell me who I am. And I think that's the importance of when you think about, and actually, do you know, Windrush wasn't the first black people here, you know that? We talk a lot about Windrush. I was doing a bit of research and I'll see if I can find it while I'm talking to you. Black people were here from ancient times. So it said there were African people that lived in Britain in the Roman times. Did we know that?
I've heard about it, but I haven't gone into I haven't really read up on it.
So from the Roman emperor in 208 AD, there was a black presence within the UK. In the 17,000s, black people lived in cities like London, Bristol, and Liverpool. There was freedom fighters against slavery. I don't know, that was like a group. Obviously, we know even from when we think about World War One, because remember, Windrush was after the war, World War Two, and that was when they came to kind of build this country. But before that, there were black soldiers who fought within World War One. There were black soldiers who fought within World War Two. So we were here a long time before that. We just don't have necessarily all the data around it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that education there.
You know me, the educator, sometimes.
Not from TikTok today.
No. This is proper, authentic research.
It sounded like it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't disagree, but I think for us it's that the Windrush was that sort of landmark thing about mass migration and also the fact that we were invited to come, we were invited to rebuild, we were invited to build the economy as well.
And I suppose I was just, when we were all talking, I was just trying to think about what does that kind of look like, I suppose, today in terms of in the workplace, within our community, you know, within our homes, in terms of, what the theme is this year.
So give me, what do you mean?
So I suppose it's about, you know, because it's, you know, the theme's about standing firm in power and pride. So I suppose how would we be able to kind of push that forward within the workplace, within schools, within our communities? How would we kind of move that forward? And
I think first of all it is educating ourselves and knowing our histories, and there is something about being confident about who we are, our identities, and really feeling. And I think that's power, and that is pride as well. I think there's lots that's said about us in the media, and there's lots of negative things that we kind of have to battle through. But I think if we know who we are and we show up with our best selves, I think that is we're all able to evidence our own power and pride. From our history and our sort of connectedness.
And teaching the next generation, I think, in regards to it's Black History Month. Yes, there might be a little segment at my kids' school in regards to what Black History Month is, but I always like to, and I don't believe there should just be a month. And I do believe as parents, we need to take responsibility as well. Yeah. It's not just 1 month of the year that we teach them, but I always like to find new inventors. I like to find innovators who are Black, who I can tell my nieces and nephews, tell my sons. I want them to know that they can achieve a lot of things, because there's a lot of things that Black people was not given credit for, and they invented a lot of things. And it's funny because I even tried to do a bit of research of what has a Black person invented in the last 10 years in the UK, and I've really struggled.
Yeah,
I've really struggled.
It kind of talks more about like influencing, really, kind of in the digital sense, really. More influencers there as opposed to kind of, because that's where the focus is, really, isn't it? If you wanted to kind of find probably the most top Black female male influencers, you probably
could find
find it in that way. And it'd be it'd be something different in terms of something like, the underground or something like that. It'd be very, very different, more geared to what people are needing now, really. But I think that's something that actually, especially since being involved in the podcast, that if you want to kind of find more about actually things that are happening for your own race culture, you can access that quite easily on TikTok and Insta, and actually, that's something that we, when I think about when we went to see Candice Braithwaite, and actually how she's come about for me is obviously from seeing her on Insta and, and following her. And then we went to go and see her, and that's something more recently that, and it was nice to kind of listen to her, to hear her talk in a way that you can relate to in terms of her own upbringing and her own experiences, and just giving you kind of tools, a toolbox to kind of take away and things that you can do differently. And maybe, because you talked about actually what we could do is sharing that information. I don't know if we share as much as we could do in terms of information that we're learning. I take that back. I think we are doing it more. I think there's more conversations that we're having and naming things more in a way that we become much more aware. So isn't September was a month where people were talking about not buying products from
till December, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it started in December, right? So
September.
Yeah. So that's something that people are starting to take, more pride in, and actually starting kind of put things in place, and people are now forwarding on texts so that people can kind of be like,
that's recognising our power though.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Sometimes I think we feel powerless, and it is recognising where does our power lie. Everybody does. That's only a feeling, and that's a perception of a situation that we're powerless. We have got power, and it is about actually when you've got money in your pocket, you choose where to spend it. That's a power. So we have to rethink where is our power going, and drawing it back and being more intentional. Actually, I don't want it to go there. I'm choosing this instead.
Because wasn't there the black pound as well?
Yes.
At one point, it seems like that's kind of died out a little
They have
bit.
a store after the day, isn't it? Like Black Friday.
It was in Westfield.
Yeah.
But I know for myself, like since COVID and with George Floyd, I stopped buying facial products and started to kind of make my own. Really, I don't don't really buy it. When I think about, I used to like kind of buy it from the Body Shop and stuff like that. And after that particular time, I wanted to do something different and actually wanted to, just kind of make my own little mark and do something I can stick to. Because the other thing is you can start something and sometimes I'm not always good at following it through. I can't talk about anyone else, but actually that has been something that I have kind of like had to, you know, and I've thought really hard about actually where do I want to go and get my products from in order to kind of make my own. So actually I go to a black-owned shop to be able to do that. So it's just those little things that are kind of had stayed true to really. So when I kind of was hearing about actually what the plan was for September and what people would do, I was like, so we should kind of control that.
We're big stakeholders, you know. That's what people we don't realise.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy that made the video that came with that outlines what 30 days would look like if we absolutely really all did it. The thing would collapse.
Yeah.
You know, it would. They would lose a ton of money in just 30 days.
And you know, I'm intrigued at why people don't take more of control really, because actually there would have to be a different response, right? If 80% of your, you know, clientele is coming from one particular race and they stop buying, maybe people might think differently. I don't know.
I'm down with it. Like I haven't bought any hair products this month at all.
It's actually stocked up.
No. I didn't pre-stock. Why am I going to? No, I didn't pre-stock. And where possible, I'm not going to say I'm always good at doing it, but where possible, I always try to look for black-owned hair products because some of them are marketed towards us, but they're not owned.
But that's the thing. Until you do your research,
you
wouldn't know.
Yeah. Do you remember when that list came out after the pandemic?
Yeah.
There was a list of all of the products and shock horror.
Or they
because
might
they've
have
got
been,
our faces on them
and
as well.
it's been sold to other companies and stuff like that. So
And I think as well, there's that whole that whole other issue as well, because sometimes as a community we kind of feel we have to pay more when you go into black-owned shops, and
because
sometimes we don't want to pay the extra, so you go to the next shop.
But it's because they can't buy it in the masses like the other, Pack can, for example.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're independent shop.
But but then it's that thing, like, you know, how do you balance that? Whereas if you don't kind of have that financial income, but you want to be able to support your own, it does put you in a difficult position where you end up just kind of going to, I don't know, Holland and Barrett versus another kind of specialist shop where you're going to have to pay a bit more. Yeah, you know, some could say, well, you could manage your finances differently, but if the money's just not there, but you want to, I mean, you know, there probably might be other ways. You kind of have to, I don't know, grow it or something. But it's very difficult.
Most of the things we need are really grown on the earth. Let's be real about it. I guess it's difficult because we live in the UK, but if we was like in the Caribbean or in other countries, you wouldn't need that stuff. We just go outside and, do you know what I mean? If we was in our country, you heard the pause.
It's true. You would. But no, I mean, it's, I don't know, in terms of what we could do in the workplace.
They do, you know, the thing is, they do stuff. I'm not saying they don't. You know what? This whole BAME, they'll have equality, all this sort of stuff. Every workplace does it. They'll make sure that there's someone of colour who's in part of the team who organises it and stuff. And then some, and I think there's people who really meaningfully are passionate about it, yes. And then there's other people who do it, I think it's just a tick box exercise.
But do you think it drives it forward? Do you think you're seeing a difference by having those groups?
No, not really. I'm going to be honest. I think maybe for other people, I don't know. I can only speak about myself. But there's not much as an importance placed on that as there is on some other things. So in some workplaces, you can have a certain topic and it may be really relevant and work related, where this now becomes mandatory. It now becomes everyone needs to attend. Everyone needs to do this training. This is mandatory. But then, you know, some things in regards to kind of Black History Month things and stuff, or equality or diversity, they want to act like it's mandatory, but it's not. It's optional. Like do you know what I mean? So they're trying, I guess.
Yeah, but you know who, I mean, the Gen Zs, they're making a difference, man. You know, if you're talking about pride, you know, and if everybody knows, you know, has a niece or a friend's child or a child of that generation, they're making a difference in terms of the things that their approach to life, you know, how they work together collectively, in terms of, you know, how they, you know, they've got, you know, a diversity of friends, but, you know, just kind of making sure that they're in tune with their own kind of upbringing, right? I look at them and I'm like, wow, you're you know, they are making such a difference, really, in terms of just, you know, when you go on social media and what you see from them, we are learning so much from them. So much from what they're doing has been, and so much from what our generation and the next generation are doing is led by what their approach and what we're learning from them, and then we take that forward. So if Dan was here today, I'd definitely be like bigging up Dan. And, you know, because actually, I feel like just even from Dan, in the last couple of years, there's so much I've learned from her in terms of how, you know, about the podcast and things that, conversations that have been had, and also just kind of just keeping it alive and looking at it from a different perspective rather than just kind of like tunnel vision. So if there's anyone to big up, it is.
But I think that in some ways, it's like the context in which they operate is different to us. So we see it's different to our own experiences, and you're able to look and see, oh, that's different. Or and I also think there's something, it is about young age as well, like not in an ageist way, but they're more risk-taking in the sense where their boundaries are different. I think we had clear boxes that we had to operate within in terms of like, this is what you should do. But I think for them, there is no such thing.
They've broken the mold.
Like, and they don't, they almost don't care. It's unapologetically in the sense where I'm going to do this, I'm going to try this. And they try it and it's successful. And
they're not broken by it, right?
And the older generation might have said to them, don't do that. That's not sensible. I wouldn't, you know, they don't calculate in the same way as us. But then they get a different outcome because actually they've taken the risk.
So remind me, what's the heading for the Black History Month?
Standing firm in power and pride.
It's them, man. Nice. If Dan was here, I would salute Dan.
Oh yeah. Dan, we salute you.
Yes, miss Dan. You, Dan.
Okay, if we got another one then in regards to Black History Month.
Recently, there have been social media posts which went viral after making the shocking discovery, in inverted commas, that Black Scottish people were born, raised and live in Scotland with native Scottish accents. It was reported that many people from the US were surprised to learn that Black communities exist in Scotland. How does it feel when people act surprised to see Black people outside of expected places? And how can Black History Month be a time to turn that surprise into learning?
Yeah, but you know, Americans, you know, it's like how they view Black people. That, you know, they don't exist outside of their little bubble. So, I'm not surprised that came from.
I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed seeing the Black Scottish guy.
It was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And the accent. Of course, I know there's Black Scottish people, but no, seeing the accent and then him saying, and people were so shocked.
Yeah.
And I think he done a great job of kind of like bringing it to light. And it actually makes me wonder, like, what do people... There's Black people everywhere in the world. Do you know what I mean? What do people really
Ireland's
think?
The other place that people get shocked by.
No, there's lots of Black people in Ireland. And I think to myself, why do people not think there'll be Black people?
But what about like the Asian community? There's Scottish people, you know,
we
Indian
are so diverse in
and...
this country. Great Britain is probably the most diverse it's ever been today in 2025.
But if you don't see that, people are then relying on something else. They've made that
it's
judgment.
Wild, isn't it? But do you know what it reminds me of?
Scottish.
You know, like when you go down a little rabbit hole, because I went down a little rabbit hole about the people of Alaska. You know, like there's people who live like in the Alaska, and that even fascinated me. Like, oh my gosh! So I wonder if that's what they was. Oh my gosh! There's Black Scottish people. The same way how I was. Oh my gosh! There's people who live in the Atlantic.
But the other thing is,
Alaska.
people rely quite a lot on either what they read in the newspapers or what they're seeing on the TV. Right. So if they're not seeing it on the TV, it doesn't exist. And then if you're, you know, if for example there was a new channel that came out next week and most of that channel they had predominantly Black, Scottish or Irish on there, then it would be accepted. It'd be like, oh, okay. And then 2 months down the road, it'd be like, oh, this is just the norm then. But it's happening. I know, like, there's been, you know, a couple of hairdressers where they've taken locticians have opened up shops in in Scotland, I mean Edinburgh, especially in particular in Edinburgh, and you kind of like, well, they're opening up because there's a market for it, right?
Yeah.
They've gone up there and done their research and feel like it's needed, you know. But it's if people don't read it or watch it, it's not happening.
That's true, because it's just like how the news used to be, isn't it? You can only have a certain accent before to be on the news.
Yeah.
And when people used to like hear Welsh news or something else, it was like it would blow your mind. So everyone abroad, America, whatever country, always thought British people sound like Londoners, not understanding that there's different accents within the UK and different stuff like that. Yeah. Interesting.
No, it is. But it's thought-provoking though. As well.
What was the question you asked?
So the question is how does it feel when people act surprised to see black people outside of expected places? And how can Black History Month be a time to turn that surprise into learning? So I guess it's where are we that people can't see us?
But I mean, you can get that everywhere, right? Like you can just go, I mean, that can even just go like local, like, you know, you can still go in parts of Essex and there's no black people, right?
It's true. There's part of the UK where there's none.
Yeah, and people are still like
staring, and
you could walk down the road and people are staring. Yeah, it's still it's happening now. You don't have to go as far as Scotland. You know, I'm sure you could find.
Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of different countryside places as well. Maybe like in Cumbria. How many black people's in Cumbria? I say that I say that the UK is very diverse. I should say London.
Yeah, London.
But all the major cities, because Birmingham,
Leeds, all the major cities.
The major
are more
cities
diverse.
are, but there's going to be
there's definitely parts where I'm sure there's still people who were born here who are over the age of 20 who's never seen a black person before.
Well, do you remember when we covered? Do you remember when we covered that episode in a couple of episodes back where we were talking about that young woman that had never had a black friend?
And she was black herself.
Yeah. But she had lived. I mean, did we even? Where did she live? What?
She lived outside of London, but she lives in London now as an adult.
Yeah, but she had never had. You know, what did she never have a black friend?
Until she was like 20, in her 20s or something.
20s.
Yeah, which is wild. I guess because we live in such diversity, maybe it's what's normal to us. But those who don't live in such diversity, it's not going to be normal to them, is it?
They probably clearly never did a Black History Month where she was.
Oh, obviously not. Yeah.
They'll be looking at her like, and are you going to present?
Innit? What can you tell us?
It's true, right? They'll be looking
the
at
token black person. I think that's a real thing, though. There is always a token ethnic minority somewhere in certain fields or certain jobs.
I've got a question for you guys then. Did I just hear a groan from her? She's like,
Who groaned? Anne-Marie?
No, you.
Me?
Marie.
You see how she put in my name?
I know.
I thought it was you, Anne-Marie, for true.
What, all the way over there?
I just heard, like, I've got a question.
Closest person to Sharon.
No, I've got one. So, if you had to teach a friend one thing about your culture, what would you want to show them?
Don't answer first, no, Jake.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Don't
No, because
answer
I thought
first.
she was going to say something funny. Just
Don't answer first. Make her wait till last. What would I want to show them?
The one thing, just one thing.
If you had one thing you'd want to teach someone.
I think for me,
It can be anything.
I'm going to say language. I'm going to say that I'm a first generation English born to St. Lucian parents, and that I would want to talk about the fact that we speak Creole.
You know, that's a big thing at the moment on Instagram.
Is it?
About St. Lucians speaking patois in schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which school?
It's in St. Lucia, because it seems like I think it's not a subject. So they were talking about a lot of the young people don't speak it.
Because it will fade away.
Because they speak English.
Yes.
So they were talking about keeping the language, and how do you keep the language?
Put it on the curriculum.
Yeah. But it's interesting because some locals will say no. It's very divided.
I think it's about our relationship with empire. British coming in and ruling and what that means. And English seems to be that it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would do that. That's something that I would share. language.
That's nice. Yeah.
I mean, the thing I'd want to do, it's more about, it's a multiple thing, but it relates to the same thing. And it's about the recognition of school dinners and how to bring in the kind of Caribbean influence into school dinners. Ooh. That's not just about jerk chicken. Fucking hell, man. We do eat more than jerk chicken. So the one thing you wouldn't talk about isn't just jerk chicken. Yeah, I wouldn't. There'd be no chicken on the menu. Yeah, there'd be none of that. There'd be no jerk chicken on there. But it'd be about, identifying a menu that allows people to be exposed to Caribbean, not Jamaican, because that's the other thing that comes up all the time, especially it comes up more around the summertime where people are talking about carnival and and people just they only think about Jamaica seem to be the only island, but actually Caribbean food, so a mixture that research
foods change between
and expose our kids. I mean, it's not they're being exposed to it at home, but actually. Why has it got to be about just British food only, in on the school menu? So that would be the thing that I'd want to see. I'd like my son to come home and be like, do you know what?
With some hot shop.
I had some plantain today. I had some plantain.
I'm so full of how you did it, Mom.
It's true. And I'm like, at least you have something good and hot to eat. Really? You're like, sometimes you kind of like, I said, what do you have to eat? And he's like,
chocolate potato.
Was it?
Or pasta and something.
Chicken. I was like, well, what was it? Chicken or what? Because I wasn't sure. And I was like, see, right there. So no,
food. I was going to say similar to you, but not about schools, but food. I think if there was someone who knew nothing about my culture, I would. And the element of food is the labour of love, is what comes with food. And I think that's one thing. That's a very Caribbean thing. I think food is not just a meal that you eat to nourish the body. Food is a labour of love. You'll have people who will sweat over cooking, making sure that you can eat a nice hearty meal. And it's about giving to others. It's about fellowship. It's about togetherness. So I would want to teach them about our food, but in the element of a labour of love and community and togetherness.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and how you can get your partner. You can get you a man or a woman.
When she said partner, I thought she was talking about partner draw.
Those who know what that is. We won't explain that.
People get them partner draw and big potter cook. I'm joking.
Could do much more than that as well.
What are you, Emery?
So as people know, I'm half, my parents half St. Lucian, half from Barbados. So I think in terms of definitely the food, because I think as well, because it's very different in terms of what Bajan people's traditional meal is as well in terms of the food that they eat. But I think it's to learn the history, because Barbados has come out of the Commonwealth. They've got a really good Prime Minister, Myra Motley. She does a lot for Barbados, and she's very intuitive of the island. She's one of these prime ministers, when they have crop over, she's there and she's talking and she's dancing. She very much immerses herself, within the country. And she's, and when she kind of talks on a grand scale, people look up to her as well. So I think it'll be really about educating people, because Barbados is so small, but it's very powerful. So I think it's kind of understanding the richness, I think, of the island. But and definitely the food as well.
Because you don't only want to hear about Barbados when they're doing something, because, the last time there was like lots of publicity around them was when they were exiting, and then it goes quiet.
You don't
hear
nothing
nothing again.
Yeah. But they do quite a lot. Yeah. They're very influential in the Caribbean. And I think the thing for me is funny, because when I speak to certain people, they'll kind of say, because for me it's like when people talk about the Caribbean, and I'm very passionate, you only hear about Jamaica.
And as a Jamaican,
as you said, influential. That's what came to my mind.
As a Jamaican, I acknowledge that people think. I understand why, and yes, big up Jamaica. Jamaica's big and large.
But St. Lucia came.
But I acknowledge all the other
100 meters. St. Lucia was on the map.
Big up Julia and Alfred. But I'm talking about the other islands, and I understand why people say Jamaica. But having travelled now to a few different other Caribbean islands, I do see the beauty
in all of them.
But it's also lack of education, isn't it? And it's laziness,
all of
right?
it. Yeah.
It's just kind of, and also it's linked to sometimes the music, right?
Yes,
That actually they hear certain music, they like that music, it's Jamaican.
Every island I've been to plays Jamaican music.
Yeah, so and it's just the lack of education. Because if you want to know more, you can. You can go and educate yourself. Do you know what? I've heard enough about Jamaica. Where else can I go? So if there's anything that people could do for Black History Month is educate yourself about the Caribbean islands.
Definitely.
And they're beautiful. They all have something different to
Oh,
offer.
my
They're
goodness.
they're similar but different. They're all so
Yes.
different. All have something different to offer. Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys might do for this month?
In honour of Black History Month.
I see what I like a comedy show, and they always seem to put on a lot this time around.
They do
around
this
time of the year. So you know, it's not. I will go throughout the year anyway.
I've been invited to a comedy show actually. Yeah.
But that's usually one of the things I would look out for. If there's something I'm going to look out for, it'll be something like that, because actually, I kind of feel like you shouldn't just wait for this month to be able to educate yourself. So it should be something that you do all year round. So on that basis, but if there's the kind of the shows, then the comedy shows I quite like.
I do go to those as well.
People seem to make a real effort to attend things like that, the plays. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, just have a wonderful Black History Month for all. And let us try and learn something new that we didn't know about our culture, and let's stand in pride and power, because we are powerful.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening. It's a bye from me, Sharon.
Bye from me, Shads.
Bye from me, Davina.
Bye from me, Anne-Marie.
Bye.